there, freaks and geeks. Thanks for joining us for another episode of Up Your Geek Spotlight, where we shine a light on the most exciting and creative minds in pop culture and entertainment. I'm your host, Lulamar Booker, and on today's show, we have an incredible episode lined up for you. We're diving into the world of action cinema with none other than director Brian Skiba, the visionary behind the upcoming thriller, Clear Cut. With a stellar cast, including Academy Award nominee Alec Baldwin, Stephen Dorff, Clive Standen, and Tom Welling, this film promises to deliver heart-pounding excitement and unforgettable moments. Stay tuned as we chat with Brian about the inspiration behind Clear Cut, the challenges of filming on location in the rugged Pacific Northwest, and what audiences expect from this action-packed adventure. So sit back, relax, and get ready to enjoy an inside look at Clear Cut on this episode of Up Your Geek Spotlight. Hi, everybody out there. Welcome to another edition of Up Your Geek Spotlight. We're here to bring you the latest and greatest in the world of entertainment. This is independent film Clear Cut, directed by Brian Skiba. I'm your host, Lulamar Booker. Today, we're going to talk about Clear Cut, and I'm going to start off with Brian. Thank you for joining us on Up Your Geek Spotlight. And can you tell us a bit about the concept for Clear Cut and how it came to be?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me. Thank you. Clear Cut is an amalgamation of the most dangerous jobs in the world, right? So when I got the script, I asked the writer, I was like, so, where'd this come from, and he was just like, well, I read somewhere that logging was the most dangerous industry in the world. He's like, I assumed it was drug dealing. And then, and then he's like, police work is obviously equally as dangerous. So he thought he'd just, put all three together and wrote the script. Yeah. So that's where it all came from. That's where it started.
So you mentioned that Clear Cut was inspired by these dangerous jobs, logging, police work, drug dealing. Can you elaborate on how these elements play a role in the film?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, the logging element is I think the logging element is kind of secondary to the drug dealing. Basically, the idea is that, these drug dealers have set up a cook in the middle of a national forest because obviously there's, they're not going to get found out there. And I think it's pretty current too, because I think that is what a lot of people do. They pull their RV out in the middle of nowhere and do whatever bad stuff they're going to do. And then they drive, then they come back to the city or whatever. And so that's kind of the idea. And then, the logging element is one of the loggers stumbles into the camp and finds the bag of money, and that they're paying the cooks. The dealers have showed up with drugs. He finds the bag of money, steals it before they figure it out, and then they go after him trying to get their money back because obviously, losing drug money is a dangerous business. So
yeah. So that part, so that you mentioned that, and without giving like too much away, that scene was interesting because it just like it was starting, and you're like, so where are they going with this? And then he sees something and then he hides, and then we find the money. But then you've got this, this gang that these people that you really don't know too much about until you get later on in the film. From that point, like he cuts and runs, and then we have the film starting really. Can you tell us about filming those particular scenes, those shots? Like, how do you angle that? And what was your thought process in filming that particular scene, going to the RV, multiple cameras? What kind of angles did you use? Do you use a type of method for that?
Yeah, I mean, we did have multiple cameras. We had three cameras. There were two Aries and one red, and they were our Ari. And then and yeah, I mean the idea was, you know, always keep the camera moving. You know, I mean, first of all, we were kind of out in the forest, and so you know, I didn't have the luxury of, like, you know, studio dollies or Fishers, and we didn't have the crude either to carry a Fisher dolly down a path. So we relied a lot on Steadicam. We relied a lot on handheld with easy rigs, and then, you know, keep the camera moving, keep it frenetic, keep the pacing, you know, keep it interesting, and you know, and so that was really what kind of dictated things. And then that specific scene that you're talking about, that camp, was actually, funny enough, pretty much already there.
Oh, wow.
We were scouting, and we went on this on this guy's property, and at some point somebody in his family had lived there, and then they'd left, and it just kind of got left that way.
Wow.
And so we just kind of embellished on it a little bit, but
awesome. It worked out for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about character Jack. He faces some real danger here from nature and human threats. How did you approach developing his character and the challenges that he faces throughout the film?
You know, I think Clive and I talked about, you know, I mean, the character is pretty layered and pretty deep, and there's a lot of symbolism between what he's doing and what he's running from, you know. And so it's just like, you know, he's running from his past, but you're seeing him physically be running through the forest and being chased. And so, you know, and he is haunted by his past. And so there's all these, like, deep meanings going on with his character and what he's going through, and then what you're visually seeing. And so Clive and I were just like, let's use that. And so he, you know, and Clive was great at building up this mysterious guy who you kind of question as to why is he doing logging, you know, some 40-year-old guy all of a sudden decide he's going to go logging, you know?
Yeah.
You know, and so you keep questioning, and I think that's the great thriller aspect of Jack and his character and what he provides to the film.
So with the casting, there's some notable people in here. You got Alec Baldwin, Stephen Dorff, and Clive Standen. And so how did you decide these actors would fit? Did you work in that process at all with getting to choose or either working out the characters with these actors?
Yeah, no, absolutely. You know, I mean, I think most of them, you know, it was like a small list of people. You know, we get a small list of actors for each role, and you know, and then it comes down to, you know, whether they respond to the material, and if they do respond to the material, then you move into obviously money and schedule. Right. You know, but you know, so yeah, you pare it down. You know, like the producer will call me and say, "What about these 10 guys?" And I'll be like, "Well, how about these 3 out of the 10?" And then we'll start the process of seeing who's available. And Clive was one of my favorites from the start, just because I was a big fan of Vikings and Rollo. I thought Rollo was just outstanding, and I thought he'd be a great leading man. You know, you want strong leading men in a movie that requires a leading man. I mean, and so yeah, so I think it was you know, it was some pretty solid casting overall.
It wasn't really. I mean, I'm a big Clive fan. I love when they did Taken, the series. That was pretty good. And Stephen Dorff, of course. I love filming location. Victoria Island, British Columbia, provides a stunning backdrop for the film. How did the location influence the storytelling and overall atmosphere of Clear Cut?
I think the story was already there, and I think we made the location fit the story, because we initially had talked about a lot of places, and they had actually even come to me and said, "Do you want to film this in LA? Because, you know, a lot of the actors live here." And I said, "Guys, I don't, you know, this movie doesn't fit in LA. I mean, this is, you know, as a Pacific Northwest logging movie. There's no logging here, you know. I mean, the best thing you have is Mile High Mountain thing, you know. I mean, it's just like, I was just like, our Big Bear, and I filmed in those places, and it just doesn't work." And so they asked me about Vancouver, and I said, "Yeah, I've filmed in Vancouver. That could be doable." And then we ended up scouting out Victoria Island and you know, Duncan, and once I got there and I saw all the logging community, and it was like, wow, this is the story, this is the script, it fits. that, because there was an actual logging community. There was actually, logging trucks rolling by you as you're going down the hallway. I mean, the highway. And so it was perfect. Yeah. So that worked out for us.
For people seeing this film, what do you hope the audience take away from Clear Cut, and what makes it a must-watch action film for enthusiasts?
It's an homage. It's an homage, to my favorite style of action films, which is kind of the 80s, 90s, early 2000 action movies, which, are just, surviving the game and those kind of films, where it's, so I think if you like action, you like practical effects, you like a good story and a good little twist in the end, anything Vera Verhoeven, if you like Vera Verhoeven stuff, I mean, check it out. I mean, it's definitely in that ballpark. It's a popcorn flick. It's a Saturday night with your girl on the couch, and that's what it is, man. It's definitely a lot of fun. So.
I really enjoyed the film. I'm probably going to give it a second watch. Brian, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for joining us here on Up Your Geek Spotlight. Thank you for sharing your insights and experience with us. For all the listeners and viewers out there, so don't miss Clear Cut. It's an action-packed thriller that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The film releases on July 19th. You can catch it on all major digital platforms releasing, and mark your calendars. Get ready for an unforgettable cinematic experience, and stick around for the official trailer. Hello there, freaks and geeks. Thanks for joining us for this new episode of Up Your Geek Spotlight. I hope you enjoyed our look inside Clear Cut from filmmaker Brian Skiba. Remember, Clear Cut hits theaters and all major digital platforms on July 19th. Don't miss your chance to miss this action-packed film featuring Alec Baldwin, Stephen Dorff, Clive Standen, and Tom Welling for an unforgettable adventure. Thanks for joining us for Up Your Geek Spotlight. If you like this content, please remember to like and subscribe, and follow us on all of our social media platforms to stay up to date on the latest in pop culture and entertainment. Stay geeky, stay awesome, and we'll catch you next time on Up Your Geek Spotlight. Now, stay tuned for the official trailer.
Logging is the deadliest profession in the world. Sure you want to get into this line of work? One more time and give it all you got. It sounds perfect. Ready to work? I had a greenhorn like he was before. Couldn't make it through his first day without screwing up. Anybody back home?
Was.
Bye-bye, Mama. Get down, sweetheart!
So who's this?
Jack.
Well, Jack, welcome to the woods. Just make sure you don't wander too far off the cut. What about the cut?
He's on schedule.
So I'll see you next week.
Leave it. Make sure he's done first. This guy's a nut job. Hey! Hey!
He took the money!
There's something burning near Miller's Gulch. Mind telling me what happened here?
Irresponsible.
There's not a chance in hell this guy would make it through the night.
That DEA snitch cost me millions.
I put a hit on you. You're in the wilderness out here.
Get lost in nature, and you possibly die. Things happen out here fast. When they do, people die.